help in many situations that may happen close to you or in close to your family or your neighbors. Check English. Testing, English, testing. I share with you in this level 19, so you can carry out and do it. So I decide, just like in Brazil, that Fernando had announced to all of you, in South America and in America, in the US, from the 8th to the 12th of January 2008, I will organize a level 20 for all of the students in South America as well as in North America. From the 8th to the 12th. From the 8th to the 12th in South America. So that is the agenda, so you are able to prepare for the vacation so that you can attend the class. I hope that during the following months you have a chance to practice so it can benefit you. There are many changes on Earth, as you already know. Beside the fact of global warming that the scientists around the world had warned all over the world. And in the case of the virus, we do not know where they come from, and they are very dangerous. In the principle from the past until now, in the case of a flu, the children are affected the most, but now it will affect adults. Recently, yesterday in Australia, one of the young men, 35-year-old, with a flu, and he died instantly in the hospital. So that is one of a warning, not because of one person, but in the future, perhaps many people. For that reason, the United States, they had already warned the public. In America, we do not know what will happen. Or whether they have a lot of people who are sick or not, we do not know. But in the case of the effect on the climate, on the environment, for sure, they have some influence, more or less, for us. From the West, it is better than the East. As you know, from the East, in China, that is one of the largest countries with the largest population. In the case of the environment, it is very contaminated. So all of this situation, the Asian, they need to prepare. To prepare the environment, meaning the EV water, the EV garlic water, combining with your knowledge as you learn, so you know how to apply to help yourself and others to be able to achieve in order to help people. That is how I share with you, so that we will have the opportunity to serve your family, your people, your country. Furthermore, you can serve the communities in Europe as well as from the West. As you know, the scientists also sent warnings that the North Pole, with the iceberg melting, this iceberg melting, flooding is not as important. But the ocean, the sea, with the vapor from the sea, it may cause a lot of epidemics, because of these are the toxic that are stored from this ice cap that is flowing through the ocean, and with the vapor causing the rain, and we would die because of this type of rain, toxic rain, because it would form many of the strange viruses. It is not that suddenly you have the rain or doesn't have the rain and you have the flu epidemics or the cold weather. It's not because of this reason. I'm not a scientist, but I know the vapors that form the clouds, cause the rain, they are all toxic. That's why I request for you, never use rain water to drink. It's so dangerous. If you drink, you need to boil it and mix it with salt and sugar and transfer energy to it. In that way, perhaps you can help yourself because of your energy. You can neutralize this virus to help you with the immune strength, to help your health. When I send this warning, perhaps it will have a global impact, not for any country, because the ocean, the water flowing through all five continents, and each country you have the ocean, and each you have the rain. Do not think the rain is good. In fact, in my own country, each time when they have the rain, people are glad because they can use the rainwater for cooking, for every daily use. But now it is not like that. So I advise for you from the east and the west, similarly, with the rainwater, perhaps you can use, but do not drink it. You can use it to water the field. If you drink it, you need to boil it carefully, as well as you apply with the technique that you have learned, energy transfer or mixing with the salt and sugar, so that you can improve your immune strength to fight against the virus, so that you can prevent from being sick. That is how I want to share with you in the case that Earth, we have been threatened, as the scientists had warned for the past 10 years. Not this is the first year, but perhaps this year is the most dangerous one because of the melting of the iceberg with the change of the climate. Just like in the previous seminars, as well as this one, I also warn all of you, especially in America. 5 years ago, when I was in the US, there's a newspaper, a large newspaper. They mentioned that only 2 grams of toxic chemicals that pour into the river in New York with the vapor in 72 hours, it may cause 7 million deaths. Only just 2 grams of the chemical. And if they put in half of a kilogram, then that would kill half of the population in America. That is how I share with you this chemical mixing into the water, and the vapor of the water may kill a lot of people. That's why the scientists warn that they do not have any medication or vaccine to deal with this type of flu epidemics that may come this winter. This winter now from the west, now and also the summer in the South Pole and in Australia, whether it is a South Pole or a North Pole or East or West, we need to prepare. You can see the UV garlic water is so simple. I advise for you, if you have the free time, you try to prepare to keep it at home. This is the most necessary one. It's so simple, but it may replace the vaccine to kill all of the virus because of the energy, because of the light of God's aura, that the deities allow for us to contribute to help all the people who are linked to you by faith. From the research, in fact, salt, sugar, liquor, water, and the UV garlic water has no effect. Besides the fact that you have a little liquor or the taste of garlic, it has no effect. But the effect here is you have the special ability as you merge your soul into it, you transfer energy, the light of God's aura into it, so that you can solve the problem to help the people who are linked to you by faith. That is how I share with you my knowledge as the deities reveal to me, and my knowledge through the news media, that I want to send a general reminder to all of you, so you have the opportunity to contribute, to help yourself, and to help those who are linked to you. Those are the ones who are linked to you by faith, not just your relatives. Listen carefully. However, your family members, it is not that you are abandoning them, but sometimes you do not have enough time to save them. And you don't have enough time to save them, then there's nothing you can do. And you always need to remember the formula in the level 19 to merge. So in any emergency case, you can pray for my soul as you practice, so that you merge to those who are about dying. Then perhaps you can help them and save them. That is how I share with you a few points before I let you ask questions. So now in the morning, today, it is the turn for Iran to ask. You can ask from Iran, so I can answer for you. So now we start with the question. Iran, you can ask.
Okay. Dear Master, thank you for all your teachings and give me the permission to attend this course. I have 2 questions. The first one has been asked in a different way. However, since what I understood from your answer was different from my religious belief, which I have grown up with, and the direct words from Quran, the spiritual script of the Islam, I would like to ask you the question again. The question was this: in Quran, there is a direct indication of the Judgment Day, which is the day when all the dead will rise and they will appear in front of the court of God, basically to be judged on what they have done during their lives. Dear Master, what is your opinion on this subject? Is there truly a day like that? How can we match this day with reincarnation that we talked about? And my next question is about Quran, the holy book of the Muslims that we believe in. This is the only book that they say during the history, it has not been touched, and nothing has been added to it, and nothing has been taken out of it. Is this true? Should we believe this fact? Is this book the same book that has been sent from God to Muhammad? Thank you very much, Master.
Mute. Okay, sorry about that.
This question, okay. All right, the last part, I repeat the last part again. About the holy book of Islam is Quran, and the question is, has it been touched? Has any verses been taken out, or has any verses been added to this book? Is this the same book that has been sent to Muhammad from God or not? Thank you so much. This question is from Ms. Najafi from Iran. Thank you, Master.
Now let me answer for you in general. The faith in all religion in the world, that is, as you have the link to the religious founder, and no one on earth can unify all the religion in the world. And regarding the changes in the scriptures, I'm very fortunate that the high-ranking monks through my journey, as you know, Muhammad, that was 15 centuries ago. There were so many changes on earth. There were so many changes in the humans. So books, there is no exception. I tell you the truth. Including those who are not in your religion, they enter into your religion. Do you know? No. These people changes. Can you know? No. But I know it happened. It is not that it doesn't exist. I do not want to say about Muslim, but there are other religions in the world. People are not in their religion, that they are confirmed that they were the closest, that the kings and the queen are powerful people who introduced them to go into the secret archive. It's not so simple. And the king and the queen who recommend. These are the advisors. What for? So that they use it for political means. They just sign, and so that person A can go in to the archive and open the books and make changes. Nobody will know. And these are the people who have the authority to read the ancient texts, to read all of these messages. And these people now are still alive. They're not dead yet. That I am saying in general. So there's nothing that they cannot change. As I learned from a spiritual aspect, there's no Buddhas or any saints that can reincarnate into the world that we can recognize them. That is the truth. Because the law in the spiritual world, nobody has that right. But they can say it. I tell you, one of the real incidents that I often share with you, one of the billionaire, and you know how rich that person is. In country A, I do not want to say any country. He has only one son to inherit billions of US dollars, 10-year-old boy. They took the boy saying that he's a reincarnated of a saint or a Buddha because the parent, because they belong to that religion, so they have to listen. And they showed me the picture about 15 years ago, the picture of the boy. I said the boy is an ordinary boy, he has nothing special. Perhaps he's only a wealthy boy, that's all. But I did not know that he's rich. You know what happened? All of his wealth, the parents, they brought all into the religion. This is one of the real incidents. That person is also a student. They came and cried to me, but there's nothing I can do. 15 years ago. That is how I want to share with you through this incident, so you know. However, all of the religious founders on earth, as we live here, they have their own mission that the deity had given to them. For that reason, as you know, how come you have the Old and New Testament? How come you have the Old and the New Scriptures? Because it is more appropriate to the human society. And the old one may not be appropriate, and the old one cannot adapt to the new one. People do not listen because of the level of advancement of the human society. And on the judgment day, as you mentioned about it, when you go, by the time you reach God, God is truly the compassionate one. God love never judge anyone. It is only the human who judge. God never. The deities never. Because of our selfishness, that's why we condemn and judge other. The deities, they have love and compassion. They create us. Why should they judge us? They just teach us to do good and help people. But nobody listen to them. No one. If we listen to them, then now we would not have wars for many centuries. These powerful people, because if they are behind these people who are smart, then they kill those who are better than them. I do not want to repeat about this. 3 centuries ago, the scientists are killed because they know more. And because of they know more, because of their fame, that's why they kill these people. Through this, I want to remind you, the person who created the atomic bomb, Albert Einstein, perhaps all over the world you know about Albert. He's a famous scientist in the 20th century. He researched also on the development of spirituality. Recently, in the recent time, as we just find one of the document, he mentioned that in terms of the religion, only the concept of Buddhism can help so the people can learn to develop spirituality in our heart, in ourselves. You keep on looking outwards, you think it is real, but the true one inside yourself you did not pay attention to. Therefore, this scientist, he also confirmed that perhaps in the future, we do not know when, the humans will live by nature, live with a true heart, true love. That is the earth as we prepare, that people would prepare to have wisdom and enlightenment. People with wisdom and enlightenment, then there is no struggle. Now, because of those who are not, do not have the wisdom, they have power, and those who have wisdom and they don't have power, that's why they are being condemned. I do not want to say much, 3 centuries until now, in the human society, 30 million years ago, it is still the same. So we cannot blame the 5th human race. How come we are so strange? The first human race is just like the 5th human race. We are worse than them because we don't have the wisdom and enlightenment. They had the wisdom and enlightenment, and they still have power and selfishness. So for us, for sure, naturally, we have power and selfishness. That's why Buddha was born, to prove. But nobody believed him. The scientists do not believe. 25 centuries. After 25 centuries, this scientist would know the teaching of Buddha. It is combining spirituality and science that he left behind 25 centuries. Until now, people would recognize it. So we are almost annihilating ourselves. Now we know, if 1,000 years ago, if we know the teaching of Buddha, the scientists research the teaching of Buddha, then now we would not suffer. You can see that. Therefore, when you talk about the judgment in the Catholic doctrine, similarly, you say that the highest God with love to all the creatures, so for sure God never condemn anyone. It is you who condemn them. Being partisan, and then you can praise them, and if they don't do it, anything, either you have sinned or not, either you are going to heaven or sent to hell. The deities never want to hurt the humans. The deities just want people to have wisdom, enlightenment, to live long, in order to guide others, so they also can have wisdom and enlightenment. Because of selfishness and power circle that the human right now, in the recent 25 centuries until now, the humans, we only live up to 70 and 80 years of age, including Buddha. He was the enlightened one, and he died before he died at the age of 87. Not even 90 years. He couldn't even live 100 years. Not even 90 years. And he's the Buddha, the enlightened one with all the ability, but 87 years old, and he died. But in the past, what did they learn? How did they train? And they were able to live from 1 to 5,000 years. How do they train themselves? Recently, the 200,000 years ago, they could live 300 to 600 years old. But now we're not even 90 or even 100. We died. So in the case as you believe, it's not just yourself. In my country, there are many religions. There are big and a small religion, including Islam also migrate into my country. In my country, we have people who are Muslim. I share with you one of the real incidents. The Catholics in the past, on Friday, they do not eat meat. But in my country, because of the war, 1,000 years of war, they don't have fish to eat. So they have eat anything every day. So the Vatican sent a decree because of the love to those people who have war. So on Friday, they can eat anything. There is no restriction. If on Friday they cannot eat meat, then people would die from hunger. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. If on Friday, if they have meat, they cannot eat meat. If they eat meat, then they violate because of the war. The scripture didn't mention about wars. So I share with you that point. Buddhism from the East, the Orthodox Buddhism, people follow a vegetarian diet, but they eat meat. If you want to follow and learn in Thailand, you have to eat meat. Otherwise, you go elsewhere to learn. The Vietnamese monks, they have to eat meat. They cannot eat the vegetarian, otherwise they would not be admitted. In Vietnam, they decide that it has to be strict vegetarian, but when they go to Thailand to learn for 10 years, they have to eat meat. These monks, one of them are my family members from Vietnam, vegetarian strict because they are so poor. But go to Thailand, eat meat 10 years, and at the 11th year going back home, cannot eat vegetarian. So he has to eat meat. That is a reality. So you can see, now Buddha did not give you the restriction to eat vegetarian. When he was alive, we do not know what he eat, but he never put that law because we make up this law. You can see, that is the reality. Now, as you ask, over here is right and over there is wrong. Over here is wrong, over there is right. So everywhere they are right in their own way. They are right in their own perspective. They are right in their own perspective. So no matter how you judge, you are wrong. So it is best not to judge. In the case that you believe in the judgment, as I explained to you already, the Catholic doctrine similarly, or the Muslim doctrine, these are the people who left behind. Why? As the means for us to do good and stay away from evil, so that we can return back to heaven. I don't know how it is judged, but in the future, if the deities allow us, then we can save all the people, the dead, to be alive when they die in the coma state. That for the past few days I mentioned to you, when nuclear radiation, biological or chemical, toxic in the air, that caused a lot of casualty for 48 hours or 72 hours, people are dying, then you can help them to live. That is how they can change the body and the soul. The body can revive without being dead, and the soul can continue on to live in the body to help people. So now, I explained to you in the previous seminar as well as in this one, through 1,000 years until now, including the master in Egypt, they have ability that the scientists, the researcher, they came to Egypt to research, that include also Master Dang. This master never learned, this master in Egypt never learned, so how can they teach to the world? In the case that our body can transform into energy, in the case that we can use this energy, we can transfer without any limit of the distance. They never exist. If it exists, then the human, we are preparing to contribute to help the humans. The human can help the human. That is how we can truly live in nature, meaning universal energy. That God had taught me how to use, as I teach you how to use it, so you can help people. The deities, we don't see them, we only see all of us. However, these religious founders, they left for us many means that the purpose, they do not need much. They just need to for us to learn to love, to help. If you know how to love and help, then you have the support from these religious founders to your last breath in order to do something that they want. Not just one religious founder, but all of them around the world from the past until now. You can be selfish. You can create power. But then you love the one that you love the most. That's how clever the deities can be. You can do many things, but as you know how to love, then you can help. The deities, they are not contradicting, but they are so clever because you love and you help, then there's no selfishness. You don't even have power struggle. The deities said, power, if you want to, you can have power. Selfishness, if you want to, you can have selfishness. But love and then you help. If you apply, you love and you help them, then you can clear your selfishness and you clear the problem of power. Because with power, you don't love much. You only help within only your limited, or in your group or in your family. You don't even care of others. You may be selfishness. You may be selfish to the public, but in your family or in your own group, you are not. So, if you want to explain, I explain to you. So, in the Quran scripture or the Bible, they mention about the judgment day. The deity would help. You don't see the deities, but they only see you. Now, with the people in the epidemics, you come to help. They don't see the deities. They only see Muhammad, Ali, Baba. They don't see the real one. If your religious founder, even if he come down here, can you recognize them? If he's standing right in front of you, can you recognize them? You drive him away. You want Christ to come. Christ was standing in front of you. You do not recognize him. 2,000 years until now, nobody knows the face of Christ. According to legend, that the face of Christ, the image of Christ, they changed 32 times. But nobody really know the true face of Christ. They just imagine, and God, and never, you don't see God, and you have God with the beard and white hair. Seem like a big man, but no matter how they draw, it is different, because the first human race, they are so tall, and the last human race, the height is 3 to 6 meter, but they draw the God as 1.8 meter or 2 meter high. But this is only the means for us to use image as a symbolize to express our faith as we pray to God. So now, in Muslim, Catholic, you believe in God, but the Buddhists, they only believe in Buddha. So they leave us the means for us to research and study. But you see, inside your heart, can you do it? You know your heart. Does your heart is clear? That is your heart that God had given to you. As the deities teach you to look into your heart. If inside you are, you have the light, then you can shine the light outside. The light right inside of you, inside. For that reason, in the future, Albert Einstein, he had research, and he would show that, as you can see, he researched and share in the website all over the world. This document that they found, some of the quotes that from Einstein regarding religion, science, spirituality. And this famous scientist, Albert Einstein, who discussed about spirituality and science, and also mentioned a little bit about Buddhism, that can be appropriate to explain, to help mankind, only the concept of Buddhism. So these are the quotes from the famous scientists in the 20th century. Through this question, the changes, as I know, I don't know about you, That is for my personal knowledge, because these people who change the scriptures, I saw them. From the Buddhists, I tell you the truth. I mentioned already, but you did not know it. I tell you, so you can see how pitiful. I know many of these high-ranking monks who learn in Thailand return back to Vietnam and to go to America, to migrate to America. On that one day, I came to one of the monastery to visit one of the monk, and that monk speaks fluently Thai, and he translate the Thai scriptures from Thai into Vietnamese, so that the Vietnamese disciple can learn. And in his monastery, they have the air condition, but he did not have. So on a hot day, he has to use a fan. On that day, when I came to visit, I was wearing suit, so I was sitting near the fan, and he was sitting there, and he talked to me, meeting me, and he was writing, translating. I asked him what he's doing. He said that he translate the Thai scriptures so that the Vietnamese Buddhists can learn. So I said it's a good thing. So I was sitting right there. He said that he said, "I'm sorry, I had to go to the toilet." So I saw that right in front of him, the Thai scripture, and he was writing in Vietnamese, translating. The fan, you can see, as the fan turned 3 pages. After he returned back from the toilet, the three pages was turned already. And after that, he sit down and he could continue to write. Lost 4 pages already, but he continued to write. So now, how do you really know the scripture? Losing 1 page, it is lost. Now losing 4, and he said, "This is so profound. I don't dare to say anything to him." So lost 4 pages, and he continued to write and could translate. Lost in 4 pages because he went to the toilet. The fan turned 4 pages. So when I teach you in a class, and suddenly on that time when you go to the toilet, and you miss the information because at that time you was in the toilet. That is the fact. And that person, I tell you the truth, comparing the age, that person would be like my uncle or my father. Now he's still alive. He's in religious leader. The king had appointed him to go to read the scriptures and write. He changes, and he had make a vow of silence. He cannot say anything. They just come and they just greet, but he can come and to the archive, and he take all of the information and he write according to others' order, not to. That is a secret. I'm very fortunate that these are the secrets that they reveal to me. Because perhaps I don't know how high they were in their training, in their spiritual training, and when they saw me and they present to me so that my soul can help. My body is not capable, but my soul. All of these real incidents I've seen, so that today as well as in the EWE class, when you ask, I have the clear evidence, very clear and precise, because I see with my own eyes. These are the high-ranking clergy that they present to me. So I know all of this. That is only the thing in the human world, not to mention the deities revealed to me, so that I can help to increase your faith in your own religion, to have your faith in your religious founder, so that you can build your religion to be better. That is the path of Master Dang. It doesn't mean that Master Dang say that I'm good and tell you not to do this or do that. No, I just give you my opinion. As you ask, whatever Master Dang knows, I share to you. One more time, I confirm for you. The judgment, meaning if all of those as God who judge, God will forgive them all. Because God is the one with love, real love. So whether you have sinned or not, they also forgive you. But before you can come to God, you go to the last gate to see God. By the time you go past through the last gate, then you don't have any more sin. You know why? Because you go from low to high. You've been trained, disciplined all the way through. By the time you get to God, there is no more sin. That is a secret I share with you. It doesn't mean that you can go to see God so easy. No, it's not so easy. By the time you see God, then you don't have any more sin. Because they've been training you, disciplining you all the way through. from the most evil one all the way. By the time you get to God, and you are truly clear, then by that time you don't have any more sin, because all of this gate we went through, everything is clear. That is a reality. I tell you, nobody know about this. So you said that God is a judge, because at the time there's no more sin. Even if you have sin, God will forgive you, because you all are children. God will never condemn or torture His own children. All the humans are God's children, and the Father never condemn, no matter how you are angry, but you love your children. So God never condemn us. Only us, we condemn each other, but God never. The parents never condemn or torture the children. Only the brother and sister, we fight among ourselves, and we fight to get the asset, and we fight each other. The parents never. Sometimes you have one you love more than others, but never torture or harm them. It is the children that harm each other. The deities, being parents, they never harm their children. That is the answer. As you ask about the judgment day, today I clearly answer for you. About the changes in the Quran, I do not know, but all of the scripture, they all change. Intentionally or unintentional, they also change. History in the same way. History, they are changing according to the new era. Religion change according to the new era to help the faith, because from a younger age in the past, they don't have chemical fertilizers, so now they have to learn about chemical fertilizer. In the past, they eat with the organic fruit, and so now they need to use chemical fertilizers, and they have to learn about the formula in chemistry to mix, to help to produce all of the agriculture, to develop the economy. So in the past, they would not agree. So that is how simple it is. I explained for you. That is a reality. Now I advise for you, with everything that in the Quran say, that is the means that your religious founder left behind. You try to learn and research properly. That I only remind you, the religious founder left for you only two: love and help. Then you have everything. That's all they left behind. Then, now go on to the next question.
Brazil?
Dear Master, the first question: when we reach the 0 point, would that be neutrality, the balance between evil and good? Is that what Buddha and Jesus Christ have preached? The harmony of the opposites, the non-ego, the unconditional love? So this is the first question. The second question is, we at the Universal Energy School, are we the pioneers of this new race of enlightened human beings? Another question is, dear Master, thanks for being here at level 19. What can we do in order to have one single thought and not to be divided? Can we send our soul, can we direct our soul during the travel into the space to a given place in order to help those people? So can we direct our soul during the travel into the space to a given, certain area or country in order to help those people? Last question. Dear Master, I have never had any concrete results, any tangible results by using universal energy, and sometimes I feel very discouraged. I feel sad because I feel that I have little faith. What can I do to improve I do all the exercise that you teach, Master, and I don't know what else I can do. Please help me. Thank you, Master. The very last question is, Master, where are you from? Where does the soul of Master Tung come from?
Thank you.
Now, yesterday, you mentioned about reaching the 0 point I shared with you. About 34 years ago, for the first time, as I meditated, there's no yogi master that sat and meditate right on the first time. Perhaps among these Master Tung, it's the most fortunate that on the first time, on the first day, that I sat down and I pray and I meditate. I reached that meditated state and I received the message, and that was 34 years ago. That is one of the special signs. And then through the lesson each night, through the thought, through the soul that the deities revealed to me, and on that, there's a subject that talk about the sorcerers. I thought of a way. I mentioned that if now to oppose these sorcerers, if I learn, I have some ability to harm these sorcerers before they die, they will retaliate. One dead is one is wounded, so that would be no benefit. Is there a way that to harmonize for both? Then the deities reveal to me. Just stand there, let them hit you. Do not try to block yourself. Then you have that circle, and that circle, they throw to that circle, it would just disappear, not even hurting yourself and others. I did not know about that answer 34 years ago with that message. I do not know. And then the deities revealed to me further, if I can reach that 0 state, then I can neutralize everything, and you do not harm others, and you don't have anything that happened to you. Through my journey, 34 years of learning, constantly learning. And after more than 20 years later, I would recognize for the first time that the deities taught me about the 0 state. When I taught the level 13 in the concept of LUONG, I always remind you, never judge good or bad. Good and bad you look as one. But my students, the higher they learn, the more they judge. Including Master Tung in front of you, I also judge. Because you learn very good. That's why you do not listen to Master Tung. For that reason, Master Tung is not capable. That's why the deities have to control Master Tung. So your students do not listen to you now. We have the way. So they find a way to guide you all the way through the level 20. By the level 20, their soul merged into you. So now you are under their control. To control so that you have wisdom, enlightenment. Whether you listen to them or not is up to you. Beside that, in level 19, in the year 2007, all of these unknown soldiers that I pray to them, now they are close to you. To see if you can go against them, to see if you can boast or not, to see if you have selfishness or not. Now on that, Master Tung, leave it to all of them. Now Master Tung cannot control you. You are so high now. Your soul right now is so high. So now it is up to them to take care of yourself. Now when you reach the level 20, they all continue to follow you and take care of you. Because you want to learn, so that's why I teach you. You want to have the ability to help others. I have guided you. Because you want to. As you want to, you come to learn and I teach you. So these are the ability that the deity had given to you, so you can carry out. You do more, you have benefit more. You do less, you do not. You benefit less. And you can, if you don't do anything, you cannot benefit. In Buddhists, they say that the people can work the merit for you. If you sit there, you don't do anything, and you take the blessing from others, you can never. And you can take your blessing for others, meaning if you give your own lifespan for others, so they can follow and learn for you. Listen carefully. Do not sit there and just ask for favors, money, fame, fortune. The more you have, It may shorten your lifespan so that your lifespan you give it to others so they can serve mankind. I tell you in front of me, one of my family members, as I love them, they do not follow the religious path. I give them 2 or 3 thousand. I just keep on giving to the temple. In that way, you feel better because you do not lose. You do not lose anything. And then the children and grandchildren, they are growing. They do less than everywhere they work, and everywhere they have blessing. And in that way, that is if people they have the merits and you keep on trying to take it from them, you cannot. That is how I share with you, so you can understand, so you know. If you know that in a zero state that contains everything to help in the material one, from nothingness you can help in the material. In a zero state, you can try to help. What do you have? You have the blessing that it is given to you. To whom? To you, your family, your children, your grandchildren. Now, you think that these people, you feel pitiful for them and they go abroad and they don't have a house to live, but maybe they are better. Then you don't have to worry about the bill for electricity, the house bill, the bank's statement, and you don't have headaches. And you stay in a luxury house and then you worry about the bill for this month and then the month next bill, and then the children get sick and you don't have enough money for utilities, you don't have enough money for the bank, so you have a big house and you always have mental stress. And not just for yourself, and others also have stress now with you. That is so illogical. So do not think that you have a luxurious house and you are better, and do not think that they don't have a house and they are suffering. You cannot. I see people, they do not have a house, maybe they are better, because the government take care of them. Now you have a luxury house and each month you have to pay thousands of dollars, and you get sickness, you have mental stress, and you have headaches. They don't have a house and the government gives them the money, so they still have money so they can go to a temple. It is not many people can be like that, can feel like that. How many? I want to share with you. I remind you, for the reason that you like so much, you are so selfishness. That's why you worry. So in nothingness, then you have everything. In nothingness, but you still have to work. Do not calculate anything. Then you have, and you may have something, but you have headaches. You end up in a hospital. You go to the pharmacy to buy drugs. In all of the us, in the UE, you may have a big house. Any of you who say that you don't take any drugs, because you have mental stress, you cannot sleep. You don't have money, and you have to worry about the thief for taking anything away. But you have money, you have to worry about your parents, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren. You take care of the house, phone bill, all the bills, gas, the bank statement, so many things. It causes you to worry. Because today is the 28th, 3 more days you have to pay all the bills. At the end of the month you have to pay the house bill. So instead of buying a house of 300,000, but you don't want, you want to buy a house of $1 million. That's why you cause suffering, because of your greed, and you cause others around you to have the suffering. That's why you shorten your lifespan. So the deities are so clever. So you want this, and you have to take that away. So if you work, you have money. In 8 hours you earn 150. In if you want to work each hour you want to work extra hours, and you just earn more. You can work 15 hours, then you can earn because you don't have enough. So that's why you have to work. If you don't work, and then you lose your house, you lose your car. You work before you pay the house, before you pay the car, and you end up in a hospital, and then you buy a coffin and you leave it to others. Then you end up in a coffin, and that's it. You try to work from the morning to night, and with your beautiful house, you only sleep for 5 hours, and you wake up and you leave the house to go to work again. So you just stay in your bed for 5 hours, and you're working for 18 hours. By the time you pay a third of the house, and then you leave it, say bye-bye, and you go to death, and that's it. But people, they are like that. I see from Europe to Asia, from east to west, they're all like that. I'm talking about these people who are living above normal, and for those who are living just a normal lifestyle, then they don't have to worry, don't have any mental stress, they don't have any fight or struggle because there's nothing to worry. Each day they just have 2 meals and then take a bath maybe 2 times a day. Sometimes some of the rich people in America, by the time they get home, they don't even have time to sleep, they don't even have time to take a shower. The husband and wife just lie down and everybody sleep. By the time they wake up, just wake up. After working 18 hours a day, they cannot do anything. At night, in the middle of, they don't even have the time to take a shower. They don't even have time to take a shower. They cannot do anything, just sleep. They couldn't sleep much, only 6 hours. And then wake up and then start to go to work again. Pay $5,000 a month and just sleep in that house for only 6 hours. A month, pay the house bill for $5,000 and just sleep in their face for 6 hours, and that is how they feel their joy. But when they end up in a home hospital, then they start to think about it, and they said, why should you work? Why should I condemn my body? And by the time he recover and he go out and work twice as much because the house bill is stacking up, they have to work, and then after three months end up no more working because why? He's dead. That is my student, I know. Because you ask, I just share some of the experience this means for you to learn so you can progress. It's not that I tell you not to leave your job or to leave your work. It's not that I tell you that you don't need these means, but these are the means for you to learn, to progress, to help the future, the present, and also the future for your children and grandchildren. In that way, you can live in a meaningful way. That through the question from the past, how do you live? It doesn't mean that you work so hard for the material, to make all the material for your children and grandchildren to benefit. You may not. After you, let's say with all your assets after your death, sometimes they destroy all of them. I have one of the case in Taiwan. The father died at 49 years old, leave all the assets, $15 billion US. His grandfather tell all the children together and share to them 5 million each of them, 5 million after you go bankrupt, and then and that person is 18 and the other is 22. Each of them they have 5 million in 24 hours. These people who are because of the gambling, so all of the assets they lost, and they owe 100 million. So they end up going bankrupt, losing everything. The father and the grandfather was billionaire. One of my students in Taiwan tell me to save. I cannot save in that case. I cannot save in that case. So how can I save? There's no way. I have many of these real incidents that my student had presented to Master Rang, so I know whatever I can help, then I can do it. Otherwise, I cannot. So this question about the zero state, that is your heart. In your heart, you have everything. You don't see inside, but you keep on seeing outside. That Vu just gave me one of the documents that one of the famous scientists in the 20th century, that is Albert Einstein, who researched for a long time. Now they reveal to the world to know. Only from the East they can prove the combination, the integration of spiritual and science according to the Buddhist concept. As we realize it is still late, it's better to try to attempt to change rather than not to change. If we can change, as we can live in nature, as we live with the true nature, that according to the Mekong document, we live with a true nature. But the human do not want to live in the truth. That is the truth inside your heart, inside your soul. That the scientists have proven from a scientific perspective. That is how I explain for you. Starting from now, I remind you in the level 13, I told you already, now in the level 19, you try your best. For the past few days, I taught you, do not be selfish, do not hold on to power. Do not condemn or judge others, criticizing others. That I taught you already in level 13. In that way, you have everything. That is the zero state in order to protect everything that you have. It doesn't mean that from what you have that you can protect others. My point here is the spiritual can help the material. The material cannot help the Spiritual, the material is only the means for us to carry out with the spiritual. The spiritual can help the material. If you understand and you recognize it, then you have everything on that point. Now, I have mentioned to you many times on the second question, you, me, we are very fortunate that God has chosen our body. God sent a higher soul to all of us. They volunteer, as we volunteer to be the new humans, as we volunteer to help all of those others so that they also become the new humans. It doesn't mean that we are clearing them. We need these former people because we are the old people. We change to a new people with a new life that is appropriate to the new change in a new world. In that way, the human can have wisdom and enlightenment that during this final time, these are people with no selfishness, no power struggle. Then we have everything. To have everything, then there is no fight, no selfishness. We don't have power or greed. You think that you have some ability and they do not. That's why, because of the selfishness and power struggle, and this situation keep on continue and happen in the past. So to end this, we have the ability. First, do not hold on to power or being selfish. Then you have everything. I do not tell you to go out to the society, in case of society, to practice selfishness and power. Just do it in your family first. Among your parents, your spouse, your children, live without selfishness and power struggle, in harmony with each other. You don't see your selfishness, but your children can see it. You love one more than the other. You take care of one more than the other. The children can see it. Even if they are rich, and one of them is rich, the other is poor, and you take care of the poor one, and they also feel jealous. So the father see all the children, see the poor one. You want to help the poor one. In the human nature, especially from the East, in the West, at 18 years old, they are independent, and they can do anything they want. You are an engineer, then he can buy his car. And then he had to pay for himself. If he borrow your car and you are the manager, then you have to pay the gas. I have seen a case like that. In Asia, you let them buy a car and he's an engineer. You can help them to buy a car. But in America, as he's working for his father and to take the car from the company, he has to pay the gas himself. And even that is your own children. When they are doing the laundry or mowing the lawn, you give them the money, $5. So doing all the house chore, working for the whole week, and he earned $90, and he try to buy a shirt for $100, and he still owe you $10. For the East, and you tell the children, tell them to go to school and don't do all this work, and try to say. And the children are so lazy, and they keep on asking for money. And when they ask for money, and you give them all the money. So from the East, they love all the children. So sometimes when they are good, sometimes they can be good, or sometimes they can be very spoiled. So either way, you or I. Sometimes they are so clever, they just sit at home, just read all the books, and they go out to the street and see the boy or the girl, and they do not know how to deal with them. And or they socialize too much, and they go to party, and they got corrupted, and they keep on asking money. So keep on asking the father, the mother a lot of money, and you yell at them, but you keep on giving them the money. That is how they are in Asia. In America, if you want to spend, then you have to go to work, to the shopping to work, and then you earn your own money so you can spend. So the East and the West are different. We cannot blame them. The human nature. Now, as you love, you take care of them. As you love, you take care of them so they become a good person. It doesn't mean that you love and you don't take care of them. That is a principle from the East that I want to share with you. That children being parents, we always love our children. In fact, as we love, we try to help to take care of them. As we love and we help and take care of them, until the last moment we cannot do it, then there's nothing we can do. That's how I share with you, so you can understand. That is, as we volunteer to do it first, so that we can guide those who follow us. These are the people, they're no strangers. These people are your family members at the present time, and your children and grandchildren in the future, that I want to advise for you and share with you. In a case as we volunteer to do it first, never be selfish to yourself and your family. Never try to oppress your spouse. I see in Europe always the woman, the wife, oppress the man. I just want to emphasize to the men, the Vietnamese woman, they're not like this now. They're worse than the European. I can see. In the past, in Vietnam, my God, the husband is the king in the house, and the wife always have to listen. Even though no matter what, she always have to listen. But now it's not like that. Now the husband, no matter how powerful he is, the wife, whatever he said, he has to obey. I thought that in Vietnam or in America they're like that. I know many of these diplomats, these Americans, they're so powerful. But when the Vietnamese wife, a very short Vietnamese wife, and she said that if you don't listen to me, I just go to take a kitchen knife and I'll hurt you. So he has to listen to her. Whatever she say, he obey her. And he's worse than a servant. So in Vietnam, all the family members came. She keep on saying, she keep on ordering him to do many things. People think that he's the servant, but in fact he's one of the assistant of the minister in Washington D.C. But he's only afraid of his wife. Because if he didn't listen to his wife, then at night he cannot sleep with her. That's why whatever she says, he has to listen. So for the Vietnamese, I do not know. Perhaps they learn from the Americans. That's why many of the Vietnamese women. I see many of you in here. Perhaps many of you are in here. You are smiling, so I can see. Now I just want to share with you, in summary. In the case of power struggle and selfishness, we have to try to get rid of it in order to share, to take care of your family, to take care of your children, grandchildren, and society. This is a good thing that is a new human in the future we have to carry out from the family outside to society. Only in that way we can contribute so that we can help to develop wisdom enlightenment and help others to have wisdom enlightenment just like us, just like on the journey as we are going on. Now, I can see, I taught you from the level 4. The image in front of you, you look, but without any distraction. And in the level 5.1, you can transfer energy using the chakra 6. At that moment, you have that unity without any distraction. The level 6, I let you practice the pyramid. You look from the top to down to the base for 30 minutes without any distraction. That is that unity. And slowly you learn to meditate in higher levels. When you reach to the level 16, you close your eye, you pray. 5 minutes later, you lose all sensation. Then you have that unity. I train you gradually from the level 4 up to level 16. Now you are in level 19. You try to practice. So in the future, you can travel here and there in your soul so easily, starting from this level. Now, as you are in level 19, disaster in country A or B, for example, if you know that country A or B, they have a disaster, you practice to travel out to space. Before you practice, you already think that your soul will come there. When you practice, when you lose all the sensation, then your soul will be there. You are able to help the soul of these people in the disaster area. Then for sure, more or less, you can contribute to help greatly to the soul who are in the problem area. And as your soul, you come to help this soul to control these bodies, to go here and there in one way or another. That is, you are able to help to protect these people there. This is something you can do. It's not that you are not able to. And then you have more opportunity to help, not only within this scope that I have explained to you. There are many more that you can do. In the future, this year and next year, it's not that it is finished now, or in the 6 months it's finished. In the future, very long. That the application, you can do it starting from now. You don't have to wait until next year. Now you feel discouraged, it is your fault. Because you like the formula that Master Dang taught you. You practice. Do not anticipate to travel out to space. Do not want to have power.
Mexico.
Then suddenly you open the door and you invite the deities in. And if you want and you wait, then you close your door, the deities cannot enter. You just close your eyes. Master Dang taught you the formula to practice, to receive light aura, to receive and send, receive and send. Your mission is to practice the technique, the principle that I taught you, and regarding your body, whether you lose a sensation or you travel out or not, do not pay attention to it. Then suddenly you can travel out of space easily. The moment you practice, then you can lose a sensation right away. However, I want to explain further for you. When you practice, when you don't see anything, when you don't have any sensation, and then you fall asleep, you may sleep for 5-6 hours and you wake up. You thought that you were sleeping. During the time that your body loses all the sensation, you are really in a deep sleep. Then your soul travel out. At that moment, your body follow your body to as you sleep in 6 hours in a very deep sleep. The next morning, and in your mind it's different because you did not pay attention to this. You keep on paying attention. How come others they practice, they can travel out of space, and we cannot? Because you want to. So the moment you keep on wanting, then you cannot do it because this is nothing. In that zero, when you think nothing, you think zero, then you have. But you keep on thinking that you have, then you don't have. So tonight you try it. So Master Dang teach like this. Just leave it alone. Do not let your bother whether you can travel out or not. So just leave your mind alone. Just focus to practice. The moment you think like that, you practice, suddenly you lose all sensation. Tonight, try it. Then you will know the result, as today I mentioned to you. My soul, I have mentioned already from outer space. I'm not here. In the previous time, from the level 19, from the end of the year 2006 to the past, my soul, as I know, what is the mission and what I do, starting in January 2007 and beyond, that is a soul without no name. And this soul have all the knowledge from the universe, through all the stars, the sun, the galaxies, all the planets. My soul had gone through all. So that is a soul, the strange soul that comes to earth to merge into the body of the person named LUONG MINH in order to share to all of those souls from all the human race, in order to help you, help all of us, help all the people to have wisdom and enlightenment. And now, my soul, there is no name, and it is not from any human race. Now, it is in the fifth human race because my body in the fifth human race, so that this strange soul that merged into the body of a person from the fifth human race and the body of a person named LUONG MINH in front of you here. So I explain for you. Now I advise for you, with everything that you learn in level 19, try to practice. This is not that I'm advertising, but in my country they are fortunate that recently, beside the fact that I had placed 3 antennas in my country because it divided to 3 parts, because in my country they have the north, the central, and the south. I placed 3 large antennas. And recently I sent back to Vietnam 2 of them. And yesterday they have the inaugural of the big antenna. That the news yesterday mentioned about the tornado, the storm that may affect from the north to the central. When they have the inaugural ceremony of the fourth antenna in Quảng Bình, in the central, in Quảng Bình, in the central. So yesterday I asked, and I feel glad for the people in the central that yesterday all the people from the province that comes to celebrate the inaugural, and the news mentioned that in the case of the storm that head toward Southeast Asia and especially Vietnam, but recently in the past few days that storm from the ocean it was declined, and the wind also really diminished. So that is one of the good signs for my people. As I explained for you, the antenna in the material, it has no value, but then the value here, it is the soul of Master Dang, the soul of all of you. With your of your ability that you can focus, you are able to neutralize in this scenario. Eventually, in the future, not just in Vietnam, but all over the world, perhaps we can stop all the case of natural disaster, so that we want the humans to live longer without any more death. That is the wish of the deity. They want the humans to live long, to learn, to have wisdom, enlightenment. It's not like the scientists around the world who are worried that Earth, through the changes, that may cause 70 to 90% of people who are suffering. I don't want this, and the deities do not want this. For that reason, the deities allow you and me, all of us, as we volunteer to learn first, to do first, so that we can contribute to help mankind without the problem of suffering in terms of sickness or natural disasters that may cause a lot of suffering and death. That is the wish of the deities as well as my wish and all of your wish. So now, go on, next question.
Hello, Master Tang. Dear Master, this is a question from Mozambique. Dear Master, you have told us about the fourth and fifth race or civilization. But what is this fourth or fifth races? Which were the other races? And why is it so? Is it that now we must go through the fifth race? So this is the question. The other question is about, can we already apply the techniques for level 19 today? And the other question is, Master, I would be grateful if you would explain in details what are the transformations that we are going to go through when we reach enlightenment. Would these transformations be tangible, be visible from a physical point of view? Okay, thank you very much, Master.
Now let me explain for you from the research of archaeology, from the research, from the message from the deities who sent, we know. How do we know that 30 million years ago or 1,000,000 years ago, what happened? Nobody would know. There are two ways. First, this spiritual master, as they receive the message from the deities in the environment, and secondly, these archaeologists, as they research within their own limited space in the three-dimensional world, they have their own restriction. I base on the books, I base on the messages I receive from the deities, so that I can teach and help you, so you are able to research. So the journey, the recent one, the archaeologists, I'm not an archaeologist, but I had a chance. In 1991, when I went to Egypt, I went under the pyramid into the inner chamber. In this area, they have many archaeologists, many scientists who come there to research. There were two scientists from America who disappeared. That was 20 years ago. That was in the past. I don't want to repeat that story. Through your question, the most advanced civilization, these are the fourth human race, these are the people from Atlantis. They had all the power, but because of their selfishness and power struggle, that's why the deities invite them all back. But if 200,000 years ago, the last human race, meaning the fourth human race, if they have wisdom, enlightenment, if they don't have power, struggle, selfishness to cause war, death, hatred, then now the human race, 200,000 years until now, we all will have wisdom, enlightenment. God had experimented this for human race, but they all failed. So God cleared everything, all of the power and ability of all these four human race. So now the fifth human race, we lost all of this, meaning our wisdom, enlightenment. But the deities give us one of the special abilities so that we can create the human life, create the living creatures that in the recent decades, in the recent centuries, the top scientists in the world, they only know that the human on earth, the most intelligent one, our brain, we can only use 6%. the brain of the fifth human race is divided into three parts. They just recently discovered, 4 decades ago, the scientists only realized how come our physical body, with our brain, we only use 6%. The reason is that the secondary brain are drawing down our primary brain. That from the East, the spiritual master in the East mentioned that all of the angers, all the emotions that cause us to lose our intelligence and block our wisdom. When we feel anger, in a way, it's block our knowledge. That is from the Eastern explain, and in the West they explain differently. In summary, if we know how to be relaxed and peaceful, just like this yogi master, then nothing happened. That is from the East. From the West, they only know to research in the field of science about the brain, about the influence of the secondary brain, because beyond the human, in the human brain, there is the secondary, which is a part of the reptilian and the mammal, that block our brain. That's why we can only use 6% inside the 3 dimension. We cannot use any beyond that. In the past, the fourth human race, they had all of the power and ability. They can transform the body into energy. They were able to apply in many dimensions, but they have the problem of selfishness and power. The reason I mentioned to you like that. And recently, in the year 2007, the beginning of the year 2007, all of you, the new soul of the level 19 changes. The soul of my Master Dang changed. With all the knowledge, this soul guide Master Dang and help all of you in level 19 and 20 to present all of the lecture as it is from outer space, not from inside Earth. Only in that way, you are learning beyond the books. You are able to meet the demands to help those who are researching based on the books in a 3-dimensional world on Earth. That is from the past 200,000 years until now. They never have wisdom and enlightenment. They could not reach it. That is how I explain for you clearly about these human races. And from my knowledge, 50,000 years ago, in Egypt, the first ruler in Egypt who want to develop the spirituality for Egypt, the Egyptian people and the world. But this spiritual master, they still had the problem of power and selfishness. That's why in Egypt it is erased. They could not develop spirituality. This Egyptian master, they knew the formula to keep the body, hopefully 5,000 years, 3,000 years, 10,000 years, so they can return back, but they totally failed. And 50,000 years later, and that person appeared, that is Master Dang. And then a number of you thought that Master Dang from all the human race, or Master Dang went to Egypt, and another master had possessed Master Dang, or a cell that formed into Master Dang in the human flesh with all of the special ability. But in the past, nobody would be able to see it. These are my students. These are the researchers in the field of science. They are all my students. And I continue. These human races, the last one was in Egypt, and the last one was in Asia, Master Dang here. I learned less, but I know more. I received a message from our deities. I learned beyond the books. For that reason, after 18 years of teaching, all of documents are from space, as I learned. As I prove in the human world how they can write in this way and that way. But they're still lacking a lot of information, because I learned from the books from outer space. I learned from the deities. That's how I can teach you about the spiritual sexual unification. The unification of the spiritual sexual from the principle for that in the human they devise. I read through all the books. They can really reach 1 of 1,000. 1 of 1,000, not even 1/100. I teach you 100%. If you know how to apply. That is how we can develop on a spiritual path. It is not for our pleasure. If you think that a spiritual sexual unification for pleasure, then it would not come to you. If you know that a spiritual sexual unification it is to develop on a spiritual path, to develop to reach enlightenment, then you can do it. So the two is different. That the books that research about the spiritual sexual unification from all the religion, I have read through. They can only do it 1 of 1,000. They don't have this capacity, because it is thinking from the humans. It is not from the deities who reveal, but for me, I learn from the deities. That is how I share with you regarding the human race as you ask. I had explained for you on the first day, 2 days ago, I tell you, right after the end of the day, you do it. I allow you to do it. It's not like you are experimenting or trying it out. Because on the first day, before the end of the day, I have merged with you already. You do it, meaning that the soul of Master Tang merging with your soul, so that you can do it to help others, so you can merge others, you can treat people, you transfer energy to others. Now you are doing it, you are not just practicing. Therefore, you continue to do it according to level 19 from now until the end of the seminar. Now, as you see, in your thought, with your brilliant ideas, with your ability, then you know what you have achieved, what is the capacity you have achieved. And then when you go back to your country, your family, all the environment has changed, your physical body going through a change. The change in a way that you have wisdom. Eventually, you will see that your personality is so strange. You are not, because of the change, so that it is more appropriate in order to help others in the wisdom that your soul it merged to your body to help people. Listen carefully. So people would say that how come you act so strange, but that is their own business. But for yourself, with your high soul that come to help your body, so people they cannot see it. If you listen to them, that is on your own fault. Your soul is highly capable to want to help you, to have the capacity, to help you to have wisdom, to help you to have enlightenment in order to help people. But unintentional or intentional that you listen to others as they do not know anything, or in a simple way, these are the stupid people, and you listen to them, then for sure it's your own fault. If they are stupid and you listen to them, then how can you be wise? If you are intelligent and they tell you, and at least you learn something from them, but you learn a lot from all of the wisdom, and then you lower yourself to learn from the stupid people, then I cannot stop you. I have seen many are like that. So from the Buddhists in the East, you talk about the karma, you say that because this soul is high and that soul just take you are stupid, and just admit that you are stupid. If you're wise and you keep on learning from the stupid people, and you say that because of your soul in the past you just learned the dumb lesson, you learned through everything already, you learn from low to high already. 3 plus 3 is 6, you already learned, you are in college already. You say 3 plus 3 is what? And you say 3 plus 3 is 12. Then you end up in a mental hospital. If you listen to them, you are not that stupid. 3 plus 3 is the 6. You learn it from first grade. You learn all the way through college already. And you do work, and then they tell you 3 plus 3 is 12, and you listen to them. Then you have to be in a mental hospital. Is it right? So I advise for you. You don't have to listen to these people who are stupid. You love them, meaning you help them so they can have the wisdom. You say that you love them, and then whatever they say, you have to listen to them, meaning that you are also dumb. You cannot help them. You cannot even help yourself. You can help them. If you learn and you force others to be dumb like you, and that would be so illogical. You are dumb supposedly, but then how come you force others to be dumb just like you? My point here is the woman, especially for those who are powerful. Listen carefully. That's what I'm talking about. Especially those who are in America. For those in America, they know me. You can see your husband has the power, and all the friends said that he's like that. He loves you, so you have to tell him to advise him good advice. In that way, as your husband is influential, and you try to look down your husband and mistreat your husband, you say that you are weak like this, and you show that you try to oppress your husband just like a servant, and you mistreat him. And when you are sick, and then he pray for you to leave this world, you do not know. You think that you can oppress people, and then you can condemn people, and then so they can show off to others, show off your power. You will be suffering. You are suffering. That he said that he do not retaliate. He just said that keep on saying busy and busy, and you are slowly dying. They don't have the time to take care of you because you condemn them, and they just and then they pray to Christ to help him to have another wife, and then he see suddenly he see another woman, and that woman is been worse than this first one. That is a practical one I share with you, and also this is one of the means as a lesson to help you to learn and know a funny for you, so you can change your personality as I'm prepared for you in this level 19. That's why I show you. In a level 20, you don't have to. You know why? Because I let all of this unknown soldier, then whatever you do, I'm so far away. And when suddenly you have some problem that I know, meaning that this unknown soldier, they remind you and correct you. Next question.
Mexico one.
Can you hear people?
And now I can hear you.
You're in the wrong microphone. You're in the wrong microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a question from a very young student in our class. She will read it in Spanish and I will translate it in the same way. Dear Master, thank you for everything you share with your students and for being the channel of such precious energy and love. I would like to know about the souls from the first to the fourth race. Now we know about their capacities to do many amazing things, although many of them were the results from their ego and their greed of power. If in the future those souls could merge with us and we are able to acquire these amazing talents, would we be under the risk of making the same mistakes, or by that time we would be free of our ego and power? This is quite related to the previous question. And the second question, how can we help people that live in places where there are many toxic substances underground? This is a question from our friends at the Maya Energy. Was it clear, Boo?
Dạ kính thưa thầy, câu hỏi của người học viên. Now let me explain in general for you. In the level 20 I have taught, I just want to share with you some of the information so you can rest assured. Since you asked the question that relate to that information in the case of the first to the fourth human races. The reason that the first to the fourth human race, they had the struggle because of their power. My point is, they want to conquer the entire earth. They want to dominate everyone, even though including the deities, they want to also conquer the heavens. For that reason, as they knew, when they returned back to the deities, learning closer to God, then they had been guided, and they revealed that Earth is only a testing ground, so that we learn in order to go to other planets to bring the life, as they learn from deities for millions of years until now. When they return back now on Earth and they agree to come back to Earth to help us, that is a purpose, that they do not want the fifth human race to make the same mistakes, selfish and power struggle. That is the reason that now they merge to us to help us, particularly for the humankind in general. Afterwards, the fifth human race, with wisdom, enlightenment, without selfishness, without power struggle, then they will return back to the deities. In a way, they will be back with God permanently. They will never come back on Earth again. So I explained clearly for you on that part, so you don't have to worry about it. The one that you need to worry, as we are humans, is your human with your knowledge from the past until now you don't have. Now suddenly you have this knowledge. Do you believe in it or not? Whether you believe more or less, I understand for you. Because Master Dang, I am your master. When I learned, after 20 years, I only believe 70%, even though everything the deity revealed to me, it all came true. The reason I believe 70%, why? Because as I want my student to be able to achieve it, then I would have complete faith. After 13 years, when my body and soul travel out to space, then when I taught the first level 16 to teach you the technique for the 10-day seminar, the first level 16, to see how you are able to practice during the seminar. In fact, only 3 days. A number of you who asked the question, as you are able to achieve, as you travel out to space beyond the imagination of the students, for those who can and some who cannot do it, and slowly, gradually you practice and you are able to achieve. At that time, I believe 99%, not even 100%. Why 99%? There's only one point. That only the people Atlantis who can do it. Only the first and the fifth, the first to the fourth human race can do it. If we can do it at this time, in the decade of the 21st century, in the case of air contamination, chemical, nuclear, biological, in the air, that we breathe in this air and we are still strong. Without allergy, without the toxic that damage our physical body, that cause us to die, or damage total the body, that 1% I'm waiting for. That 34 years ago, the deities have sent me the key. And with that key to open the door beyond death, that means that the toxic in the air that can kill the humans, that Master Dang is waiting for that day to neutralize. If we can, then everything will be peaceful. There's nothing left. That is the golden age. That is the time of the wisdom enlightenment for the humankind, not for the Master Dang, not for just us, but for the whole humankind. When the air, there is no more contamination, even though they have all the toxic, but the human on earth will have all the real wisdom enlightenment. Nothing can harm us. That is only the human can harm the humans, and the human harming the human, and then the human helping the human. That is the mission that God had given. That is you and me, as God has chosen. If you understand and you know that, and you still hang on to this old ways, and it's your own fault. So that's why 1 to 3% you will lose. Meaning because of selfishness, power, and greed. 3% will lose. These are from the level 20, and they will return directly to the deities. And this soul, my point is the soul from the first to the fourth human race. As you do not know, and they reveal to you so you know. If you don't understand, they teach you and explain so you understand. And if you don't want to understand, that they will return back to the deities, meaning you don't have your mission anymore. You'll be finished. I don't want to say that you live 300 or 600 years. I don't want to say that you can live 1,000 to 5,000 years. But when the toxic in the air that you do not die, then your lifespan, you cannot calculate. We live beyond time and space. That day is a day I'm waiting for. It's not I'm waiting for me, but I'm waiting for the whole humankind, for the large Iwi family. Then how can you die? You breathe in the clean air, just like you have a moderate climate, just like you are walking out in a sunny day. In a very hot sunny day, you go into the air-conditioned room. Then how can you die? And beside that, you don't have any more worries. No power struggle, no selfishness, no worries about anything, any situation. You are having abundantly everything on earth. Even if you want to die, I don't know how you can die. I tell you the truth. It's not that I want to live and afraid of death. As I mentioned to you yesterday, I only live 1 minute, 1 hour, after 1 minute for minute by minute. It's not that I want to live for 100 or 170 or 180 to serve. No. This is not important. The important part is to have wisdom and enlightenment for the humankind. The fact that the air contamination, that you are able to live with the health, this is the wisdom and enlightenment. This is the success for the humankind that the deity has been waiting for many millions of years until now. I'm waiting for that. For that reason, 1% is left. That is for the whole humankind, for a large EV family. When you learn at level 19 and higher, I advise for you, you don't have to worry about this. Or a number of you who are in the level 20 as auditors who are here, including in Australia here, all of this as your soul, you are the best human race already. You don't have to worry. Your body, the ancestors, and the unknown soldier will take care of your body, so that everything will be straightforward for you with the condition. Listen carefully. Do not be selfish. Do not fall into power and greed. Without selfishness, without greedy power, then you have everything. And that is the first human race, the best in the world. You don't have to wait for the human world to give to you anything. Therefore, you don't have to worry about anything. However, you take care of your spouse, your family, your parents, the means for your life, so to help yourself, so you can help others, so that you can have the environment of wisdom and enlightenment. That all the books from the East and the West, they refer to the Long Hoa meeting. The Long Hoa meeting meaning we don't die by nuclear, biological, chemicals. That is a Long Hoa meeting. If we die by nuclear, biological, and chemicals, and we die because of radiation, then we don't have any Long Hoa. That is how I share with you. It's not that I want to live and afraid of death. It is not that I tell this so you learn. No, as I say and I explain, so that you and me, we can benefit so that we can take care of the humankind, to take care of the people. It's not that just for our own family, our children, grandchildren, that's all. No. The purpose of the UE, for the past 18 years until now, as I've been teaching, after 34 years of my learning from the deities, as you ask, I share with you, so you can understand and you know. Now, as you know, my point in the recent seminars, I said that with the antenna, to help the lower soul so that it can evolve, to neutralize all of the negative energy from outer space, the air contamination, the toxic. What are the toxic? Where the air come from? From outer space enter. From the underground that pop up. From the underground, so that they cause all of this toxic in the air. I'm concerned about the iceberg melting. You know, this iceberg, they contain all of the toxic. As they are melting, and the vapor would cause a lot of death. If we can live, then we can serve mankind. Just think about it, especially for those of you in the West. You listen on this. From the West, you are closer to the North Pole. With the flood and with the vapors causing the rain, all of the deadly virus from the iceberg, it's not from anywhere in the air. As the vapor come and the rain come down, and it will spread everywhere. As it spread, that will cause more or less damage. I explain for you. I'm not a scientist, but I know they contain all the toxic. I'm not a scientist. I do not send any warning, but I know the toxic came from this iceberg, and it vapor coming to the air, and then will spread all over on Earth. It's not anyone who can spread. This is the one. This is the practical one. In all 5 oceans, they contain all of this. So, to solve the case of this contamination, so these oceans have to turn into a desert, so we have abundant land to live. As I can see, the Atlantic and the Pacific is left. The North and the South Pole and the Indian Ocean will turn into a desert. The North and the South Pole and the Indian Ocean, we only have the Atlantic and the Pacific left. And perhaps the water there would turn into drinking water. We will have the lack of sea water, salt water. When there is a geographic change on Earth and the axis change with ice melting, do not think that it's flood, but in fact they all turn into desert. All the water underneath is very hot. As you can see recently, as I was teaching in Chile, On the one day, the water full water in the lake. On the next day, it was totally drained. As you are in Chile, I remember that location about 12 years ago. I came to the south of Chile in Santiago. When I came to the south of Chile, I had a chance to come there to teach. About 12 years ago, in 1995. So I was teaching, and the news revealed one day the lake is full, and the next day it's totally dry. All the water was drained. So in the future, perhaps with the heat from the underground, it would dry up the three oceans. We'll have abundant land. At that time, we don't have to fight for land. We don't have to fight for land or fight for the ocean. It is so fast. When on Earth, with the global warming, when the iceberg melt, then if we can survive, otherwise we all live under the ocean. In the case of the iceberg melt, with the rise of the water 15 meters, then in Europe you have a problem. The country that suffers the most will be Holland, because of the land is below sea level. So the water, the rise of 1.5 meter in Holland, 1 meter, that would cause flood for the entire country in Holland. It's not just only Holland, but in Europe, they're close to the Atlantic Ocean, and when it's have a flood, then you have water everywhere. At night you sleep, in the morning suddenly you see fish in your bedroom. After one night, suddenly you sleep with the whale right next to your bed, then you know what happened. So you cannot tell. That is the warning from the scientists, as they know the icebergs are melting and the water are rising. Perhaps it may raise 1.5 meter. It would cause a lot of flood. Wherever the land is low, that would cause a problem in terms of flooding. Now go on, next question.
Mexico too?
Yes. Master, thank you for your love and patience. You have said that outside of this third dimension, the beings who belong to the fourth dimension and higher have learned to live in harmony and love. They do not live the duality, the guilt, the selfishness that we have. We know that all of the universe has a perfect order and equilibrium. Who or what then makes it so that our humanity has not been able to reach the necessary level to go to the next evolutionary plane? And why is it said that there is a collective delay in our spiritual development? How can you please explain to us the fact that we are the product of an experiment of more evolutionary beings who committed a mistake in the past? Thank you very much.
Dạ con chưa nghe được thầy thưa thầy. Now in the many class until now, if we don't have the teaching of LUONG as a deity who revealed to us, to help us to have wisdom and enlightenment, then for sure we still make the same mistake of the past. I don't want to say who are the deities, what they do, but when the people from the first to the fourth human race who agree to help the humankind, meaning to help us, to volunteer to do it first, then everything will be peaceful. The delay is because from us, because God loves all the humans. God wants the humans to have all the freedoms. And once the human will have a lot of freedom, we forget God. We think that you are the highest. That is one of the reasons that is from the original people, that is the first human race until now that we made. We had power, we had the capacity, but then we do not share. What is the power, what is the capacity? That is from the deities who allow us, not for any person or any race alone, but for the whole humankind. But the people from birth, we think it is for ourselves or for our own people alone, for our own group alone. That's why our people, we are going backwards. We're not going forward. The material world right now, they say that 30 years, 50 years, 1 century, we are progressing, but in fact we are going backwards. Science advancement only 1 of the million, but they're going back 1 of the billion in spirituality. They lost everything. So how they advance? No matter how you advance, you are only in the 3 dimension. Do you know about the 4th dimension? If you know, then the satellite would not be lost out in space. You would not have a storm or tornadoes or catastrophe, natural disasters, the hot, cold climate, the storms. You keep on blaming because you don't have this mean or that means, because the land that has an earthquake and we had a tsunami, but it may not be. I'm not a scientist. It may not be. So now I give you a very simple example. In Australia, I lived here for 10 years. In the ocean close to the South Pole, close to Australia, there are so many whales. And the whale from the ocean, they can swim 300 kilometers per hour, and they swim all ashore and die. And people have to carry them out so that to help them. But how come they went in to die? Because of the heat. How hot is it? The whale is very big comparing to us. How hot is it that caused them to run? Just 3 degrees, as a scientist mentioned. They're warning about the rise of the temperature with global warming. Only the rise of temperature 3 degrees. For 40 degrees raise of the temperature, the whale can handle it. And now our temperature, body temperature is 37 degrees. We can handle the rise of temperature many more. But on Earth, underneath the ocean floor, it's not that hot. It's not very rare. But now, the endurance of the whale like that, and they have to swim really fast ashore to die, not to live. They're looking to die. They could not. Eventually die. Without water, they die. And the local people here, they try to use a car to try to take them out to sea, to help them, to save them. Only a few of them they can save, but most of them, they die. You're not a scientist? I'm not a scientist. You can ask, how come? Why? If I say it, it may be a problem, so I don't say it. It's best. We're not scientists, then you can see it. That is what we need to learn, wisdom, enlightenment on that point. As we know to research, as we know to have the chance to help. It doesn't mean that to know to say it out and it will be dangerous. To know to boast, that it will be dangerous. If we have a chance, when it is, sometimes it is the time to say it, or sometimes we cannot. The whole world do not want to say it, so how can you say it? You know you cannot say it. It's not that you know that you can say anything you want. So now you only think like that. Then you know underneath the earth it's not as safe. I'm talking about in a normal sense. Not to mention about the underneath the ocean floor, underneath the iceberg, there are so many toxic. These are the ones that are deadly. That they can, this toxic that can kill millions of people. That is how I share with you. So now, at this moment, for the past few days, as I mentioned to you, we cannot blame those who are powerful, who they have ability, and they still have selfishness and power greed. So the following human race, how can they fall out of that trap? Therefore, I'm fortunate. I learned a lesson from the deities to share with you, but you and me, we are restricted in many ways because we are a human. Tradition, culture, family, society. We can clear tradition, family, society by one way. You know why? Like I just mentioned to you. nuclear, chemical, biological, in the air, who can handle it? For those who can handle it to survive, then we can clear these 4 factors. Tradition, culture, family, society, we can clear them. If not, then we cannot clear it. The time to do it, the opportunity that you and me to serve, this is a real opportunity for Earth, for the humankind. When you want to erase these 4 factors, tradition, culture, family, society, when you see somewhere when they have nuclear, biological, chemical in the air and they can survive, then that is where they can benefit. Or if they die, then the next life they can benefit. The soul will reincarnate to another body, to another time. That is the common denominator that I share with you. I use a very simple means through the scientists warning, meaning global warming, in the flu epidemics on Earth that may cause people who get sick and die. Not to mention about the virus that enter your body, that cause damage inside internal organs. At that moment, you don't have to cremate because your body is turned into water. On this, in other countries you don't see it, but in Africa they have seen it. One of the powerful virus that come in and eat all the flesh. The scientists, they cannot even research. How can they? They can never research. I tell you the truth. They can hurt people, but they cannot save people. That is so special. The scientists, they are very clever, good in hurting people, killing people, not to save. As you can see in Vietnam, no matter how they to buy drugs, they can buy. They cannot buy gun. But in America, they can buy gun. They can buy guns so easily. They can buy so many. When they have money, they can buy guns. But to buy drugs, they cannot. They need a prescription. With a prescription, they have to go to a pharmacist to buy. By the time they get there to get the prescription, the patient died. You can see how strange it is. The East and the West are different. So do not see how strange they are. They have the economic reason. They produce a lot of guns, so they have to sell. Otherwise, they would not throw it away. Drugs, they have to make difficulty for you. Why? Because you have to see the doctor, so the doctor can have a work. If you can buy the flu drugs or vaccine, you take the drug, you are afraid to die, so you just pay the doctors, then you can buy. If you don't have the money to see a doctor, then you cannot buy. If you are poor, you can see, in America, the refugee, they come to America from 6 p.m. To register for emergency. Due to emergency, the nurse and the doctor sitting there and they just talk and do nothing because it's a public hospital, and then they have to wait until 12 midnight for 6 hours. They're just there doing nothing and talking, and they don't even care about the sick patient in emergency. And they are the Negro, no matter how they try to put on the makeup, but they're black, but they are doctors. They tell you to wait. You have to wait. And by the time you are admitted and you get a prescription, by the time you get to the pharmacy, they have to call the ambulance and take you home to die. So they look at human life so cheap. Because you are poor, you don't have money. That's why. That was 20 years ago when I was in America. I see it. So there's nothing you can do. That is how I share with you. All the people, I just guide you a part as I learn, and I guide you. So you have the understanding to prepare to help. But we cannot end all of that. We can only help within our capacity. We can never stop all of that. For you individually, you cannot stop the whole group. All of this, they are so powerful. So with the beings, depending on fate and destiny, you can help them. Do not think that you can help the whole world, or to help the whole country, or the whole people, or to help the whole village. You cannot. Try your best. The one closest to you, the one acquaintance or your relatives right close to you, do not help far away, right close to you. That is the reason I want to share with you the new human, the new earth, all these new changes. I hope that we can solve in the decade of the 21st century, the first decade. First, you and me, we volunteer to do it first. That a student had asked that we are the one who volunteer first. Right. God has chosen our body. God has chosen the soul to send to us so we can do it. However, I remind to all of you, you know this is a real or false. It is up to you. If you think this is the infinite wealth, then you try to apply. It doesn't mean that you have the wealth that God had given to you so that you can boast and you look low on people to see yourself as a God. I see it already. In front of me, you think yourself as a God. I tell you the truth. Supposedly, like, I'm here, you think yourself as a God. Then if you see to the public, they may think themselves as a master of God. I tell you, in front of me right here, they look low on people. Right in front of me, they even look low on me. They see me as just like a normal person. You can see. So for other people, how can they? As I'm teaching them, as I know, and as I help, and my God, in Vietnamese, they said many of them they are so boastful and they show off right in front of me. So they cannot save people. They cannot even save themselves. How can they save the other? They said, oh my God, now they learn the level 16, 17, 18 to help people. But in fact, they knock the head of people, not to save people, to knock on the head on the people, but not to save the people. Supposedly with me, then you can see how worse they are. Oh my God, I can see many of them. I'm sitting on the ground, but they want to sit on my head. And you can see, and how can they save people? Now, as I present to you, I want to remind to you, I do not want to be higher than you, but I want you to recognize it, to know God who will give you the mission, God will give you your high soul so that you're able to contribute to help people. Do not think of anyone else, your parents, children, family members. Do not cause problems to them, do not hurt them. You do not hurt them directly, but indirectly. Meaning that they deceive you for money. They don't get sick and they tell them that they get sick. They don't have money for getting drink and they ask, and including my nephew, I also always furnish them. That is a lesson from my family I want to share with you. When they're hungry, you provide them the food. So instead of giving them the money for getting drunk, you just buy the food for them. It is better. How come you give them the money, extra money, so that they go into the bad habit? If you love them, take care of them. That is, I'm talking about my own country. That is how we are in the East. I just want to share the experience from the East. However, as I know from the East and the West, they are different. But my point is that to contribute to share, as we learn the wisdom and enlightenment, what is it? The wisdom, as we know, we need to have a clear mind. Do not blame that when you are possessed, and you only see yourself. And even those who possess you to do the good thing, do not cause you to do the bad thing or to getting drunk. Do not blame to this soul, but you always blame on them. In the past, I also blame them to Master Dang. Also did it. Now I don't do it. In the past, I always blame them. However, it is not according to my will, and I blame them. So now they guide me, keep on doing until now I learn. So I don't blame them anymore, as I know. So how can I blame them? Master Dang, if I did not know, I always blame. My name is LUONG. I changed my name to Đảo, meaning to blame. So now I advise for you, as you learn in a low level, you can do anything. Meaning you learn the lesson from low to high. When you learn high, as you know to help, it doesn't mean that you know to hurt. Love to help, not to hurt. Do not think that you love. Love meaning you help directly. Sometimes you think that you love and you help. That is the right thinking. But you need to help them in a practical way. Then you have the wisdom. Then you have the clear mind. If you help the suffering, not the poor, because the poor you cannot. They ask for 100, you give 1,000, it's not enough. And if they ask for 100, you give them 50, it's not enough. So instead of giving 100, ask for 100 and give them 50, and that will be enough. That is how you can express the love. I tell you the truth. It doesn't mean that I'm selfish, but I want to share with you. Because through my journey, I learned from low to high. I learned for you. I learned for you. So when you reach to the level 19 and 20, with everything I learned, I just summarize all for you in 3 or 5 sentences. So for you to know, like the books I research, the book you research, at the end, the deity teaches only 2 words for the whole our life. We cannot do it. Love and help. We can, but it is very restricted. The point, the deities want you to love and help infinitely. This is what you have, the infinite wealth that God had given to you, love and help. It doesn't cost you effort, it doesn't cost any money, it doesn't cost anything, only the infinite one, love and help. And in that one, you always say that you don't have the free time. So when you have the free time, you can see only these 2 words. I keep on reminding you after 19 levels, these 2 words. But as I explained through this question and through the answer and the message I received from the deities, through your questions, through my answers, I share with all of you to remind you 2 words, love and help. Truly, love and help. Love in the understanding, in the knowledge, doesn't mean that you do it in the darkness. If you do it in the darkness, it is not effective. The deities taught us to truly help and love people. That is how I share with you through this question from this student. Next question.
Explosión que hay, muchas armas nucleares, hay muchas
Mute,
cosas.
please. Everybody mute, please.
Y al derretirse, todo va.
Good afternoon. Quando nós propusemos ao mestre o seguinte, ainda nós conversamos sobre isso, o TRONG falando.
I would like to ask the follow question.
Wait, please.
We are with our true self. Are we one with God?
Wait, we have a little break just to reconnect and to eliminate the echo we had before.
Bueno, pecan.
Okay, everybody please mute again, and then Mexico 3 can ask their question, please.
Dear Master, thank you for your time. I would like to ask the following questions. When we are working with our true self, are we one with God? If it is so, how can we maintain this unification with Him 24 hours a day? If our true self is the truth, so can we create reality and so that modify the future? If we can, the unification with God 24 hours a day, could we get the perfection? Thank you very much.
It's clear, Boo?
Let me explain for you. God wants us to reach that state that this student had asked. Just like for the past few days, I mentioned to you, as well as in the level 20 I taught to the students, The reason that the humankind, we could not have the true self because of our selfishness and power, that this being want to support us and help us at this time as we are living here. We have power, we have the capacity. When you don't have selfishness, you don't have greed and power, then you have the true self 24 hours. You try it for 1 hour. You try in 1 hour, and if you feel like that, then in the 24 hours you can still maintain it, then it is good. However, I have taught in many classes. With my experience, I share with you, the true self you always have. But then in your mind, your body, as you are nurtured by the physical sense, the nurture, the gene from the ancestors, our physical body, we lose the wisdom and enlightenment. That's why we have selfishness and we have greed and power. You just try it for 1 hour. Do not think of selfishness and power. That would be the truth. The truth, what for? So that you can develop your true self. That is the truth. That is to serve people. If you think like that, then you have everything. Meaning that you can go beyond tradition, culture, family, society. That I had answered to you as I guide you. If you want to reach that consciousness, these are the factors, the criteria. What for? What are they? In the case of the air contamination with biological, nuclear, chemical, in the air, that you can breathe the air, you can still live without being sick, without dying. That point would come to the human race. If not, then we are not able. It is still developing and will happen. America, they are sending the warning already. But we volunteer to go first. This is what we help. This is not to help for people to die, but to help so that from the people from the danger that are incurable, you are able to save them. At that time, you have the true self 24 hours, not for yourself, not for us, but for all of these people. These people that you save, the true self would come to them first. The true self will come to you later. Because you already have it. It doesn't have to come to you. So you help those who do not have the true self. They don't have the ability, they don't have any capacity. You have, but you come later. Because you already have it, so it doesn't have to come first or later. Without it, how can you help them? Since they don't have the truth, so they can have. So that is a change of the body and the soul. That according to the scripture, the Quran, that mentioned about the last judgment day, that God saved all the people, the dying, to live. If you want, you can have. Now, I do not tell you or teach you to give up your tradition, culture, family, society. You have, but they are the secondary one. If you still worry about tradition, culture, family, society, then you still have selfishness, because these are the ones that cause you to have selfish. If you can clear it, then you have no selfish. If you don't have any selfishness, then you don't have greed and power. That's all. Power and selfishness go together. But our human nature, as we learn so many lessons from the past until now, so many books, we're always under pressure of tradition, culture, family, society, that Buddha have taught, mentioned about the four factor, life, birth, life, old age, death, sickness. So if we can get rid of this, then life, old age, sickness, death, there's none. We have zero beyond time and space. In life, we have tradition, culture, family, society. Spirituality, we have the four factor, life, old age, sickness, death. I just want to share with you. Testing. Is it okay now? Testing. I just want to share with you. If you want to reach that 24 hours with your true self, it doesn't mean that you get rid of tradition, culture, family, society. We don't. But do not pay too much attention to tradition, culture, family, society. Listen to me. I emphasize this point for you. Then you never have selfishness. One way, you say that you don't need tradition, culture, family, society. Many of the students, they say about this. But If you do not need tradition, culture, family, society, if you can go over these four factors, then you don't have selfishness. When you mention that you don't need, but the moment you say it, then you are selfish. You say, how come you are this? How come you don't have this? How come you don't have that? That is the reason. So how can you develop your true self? The true self, that is a spiritual path. That is your heart. Tradition, culture, family, society, that is the material one. If you are being blocked by the material, that's why you block your true self. Therefore, whoever said about the true self, I just mentioned, are you influenced or not? Yes. More or less, you are influenced. If you have the influence, then you fall into the trap. That's why the fifth human race, we have to understand for them. There are so many books from the religious leaders left behind for us. Their purpose, because tradition, culture, family, society, slowly, that in the East, they mention that you have to be detachment, following on the spiritual path. Do not think about the family. When you go to the monastery, do not think about family. You go to the monastery, you have been heartbroken. Your girlfriend left you, and you go to the, you keep on saying the mantra, but you keep on seeing your lover in front of you. You keep on saying all the mantra, but you keep on having the vision of your lover in front of you. So how can you do it? Therefore, you go to the monastery, and you are influenced like that. It's best not to go in. That is to try to hide from society. As you hide from society, you think that you have a heartbroken. You go to the monastery to feel peace. When you see someone who are beautiful, especially with 19 or 20 years old, many of these monks, they cannot follow the path. When they see this nun, young nun, just keep on over here to help you. So the monk, I don't know how they can say the mantra. When they see this young nuns come near them, that is a reality. That is a fact. How can they follow the path? They are very clever. They chose the beautiful nuns to come in, and this monk could not even follow the path. That is a fact. So it's difficult. So in the past, Buddha said that do not allow women to go into the monastery. That caused problem. But then he's stuck. His aunt asked to follow the path, so he had to allow her. So now that's why we have the nuns in the past. He would not allow. He knew that allowing women in caused problem. He himself, he got stuck. Tradition, culture, family, society, loving his own aunt who took care of him. So therefore, I tell you the truth. As I have all the experience, I share with you as the means. If you want to, it's a good thing. But I do not tell you to clear immediately. You have to do it gradually. I'm just like you. I'm also influenced by tradition, culture, family, society. Also with love. Love to the family members, the relatives. Love for those who take care of us. So that's why we have to show gratitude. We have to show thanks. But if they tell you to get rid of them, you cannot. That is the reason I want to share with you. If you love, that lesson that 30 years ago I learned, to love the ancestors, the family members, the family, to love the neighbors, to love within the ability you help their soul to evolve, then that is how you develop true love. I learned this lesson 34 years ago, but then I'm also a human just like all of you. We know how to love hate and anger, because these are the four factors: tradition, culture, family, society, that cause you to be like that. If you maintain that factors, then you have to fall into the trap of the four factors that Buddha have taught: life, old age, sickness, death. If you can solve the four factors of tradition, culture, family, society, then you don't have sickness. Without sickness, you do not die. We all die by sickness. So I keep on repeating, the point of this student is to contribute, to help us as the means so we can learn. For the sake of our soul, for the sake of the soul of all the people, we pray and we evolve, then we can succeed. Buddha had taught to have one person equal to building 5-7 temples, to have one person meaning to have one soul, to return to the deity, to return to the light, to return to nirvana. Then the task is equal to building 5 or 7 temples. That is the passage from the Buddha. It was so difficult. People keep on thinking that to have a person meaning that they can spend the money to build a temple. But in summary, only the rich people can have the merits as you build in 5 or 7 temples. But what about the poor people who do not have any money? Then they cannot have any merits. So does it mean that the deity is taking bribe for those rich people? You can see, I'm very practical. I want to explain for you. However, through this question, through the presentation from this student, there is a means to help us to have a chance to learn and progress. Whatever is needed, then you apply. Whatever is not necessary, then you don't need to apply. Just like me, in my family. I know all the rituals. Nobody would eat. But then tradition, culture, family, society, for many centuries, the ritual for memorial ceremony, they keep on following that, even though I know that the soul of the ancestors, they do not come to eat all this offering. But as we show our gratitude, to show thanks to our ancestors, and we build a burial ground and we have the ritual and ceremony, but I know there's nothing. But because we are influenced, but if we are able to clear them when it is not necessary anymore, when they don't need it anymore, we can use something new. At that point, we can change to the new and we get rid of the old one. It's not too late. So now we'll take 1 hour. So now we'll take a 1 hour break.